Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby. And today, I've got this young lioness by the name of Jennifer Hernandez, who has literally, and I mean literally, gone from the streets to the suites, so to speak. And she has dropped a powerful memoir called Nobody Can Stop Me But Me. It just dropped on the 16th. And man, shout out to, Forrester Forefront Books for dropping it, but it's also distributed by the 100-year-old and iconic Simon and Schuster. So, we're not talking about some frivolous book here. We're not talking about just some random off the corner ooh wee. This is the real deal. We're talking about someone who has dealt with child trauma and exciting adolescence, and then growing into becoming one of the most iconic mortgage loan officers in the nation. She's in the top 1%. So all you whiners out there, so I can't. This young line that shows that she can. She's eating. She's leaving no crumbs. And she's sharing a lot of pathways, tools, and resources in her book on financial literacy, mental stability, which is becoming increasingly difficult on any level here in this country. You know, single mother, look, Jennifer Hernandez, welcome. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor. I appreciate it.
Man, I'm in love with the power that you're putting out. You know, I read some of the excerpts. I did not get an opportunity to read the entire book, but just from the excerpts, I really had a physical reaction. I'm like, wow, how do you come home, discover something amiss, get blamed for it, and it costs you a bunch of problems beyond what anybody probably would think about? So you've overcome a lot, and now you're here and you're sharing, your tools and resources, your experience with others. You've gotten reviews and editorial acclaim and all that good stuff. However, I don't care what we think about you. I want to know from the inside looking out how you see Jennifer Hernandez and her journey.
I see it as still a work in progress. I don't think we don't ever like, there's no perfect in any one being. So we're all just a work in progress. And I'm still learning how to really honor and love myself. And it's a beautiful thing that I get to accomplish that in this lifetime because some people don't. And it's the most difficult thing that I have ever experienced or encountered in my life. And I've been shot at, chased, rammed, bullets flying. But this self-work is something for not for the faint at heart, that's for sure.
Well, I tell you, you start to get in touch with yourself and meet yourself again. What a journey sometimes, yeah?
Yeah. It's like burying the old version of you. How difficult is that? And I feel like that's what I just did this year, finished burying the old version of me. And I'm someone like nobody, I've been rebirthed and nobody really knows me now because just a totally different person.
Hmm. So do you feel like for yourself that no one could stop me but me was like, oh, this a full cathartic journey? And so now you're ready to roll again?
Yeah, I think that actually the way that I can best describe it, it was like me against the wall my whole entire life, just swinging and fighting for a better life. And now I feel like it's only just begun, really. Like now I'm learning how to love myself so that I can call in the life that I desire. Because the truth is, guys, is that we stay stuck where we're at because we don't honor ourselves. So how can you find somebody else to honor you if you're not willing to, or you continue to self-sabotage or people please or whatever your thing is. So I'm so excited because I feel like I feel like I'm starting to call in people who really want to pour into me and who are like me and very like-minded, and we're just ready to, you know, heal the land and impact as many people as we possibly can by just being raw and very, very transparent.
You know, some stories that you hear about people really, you're like, I cannot make this stuff up. Like no one could really live and survive through this just back to back to back.
Yeah.
You have. And I mean, I'm just glad as a human being that you're still here.
Yeah, me too.
Because, drugs, gangs, bad boyfriends, etc. You know what I mean? Women go through these things, not all women, but you know, where I'm from, it's common.
Yeah.
But you as an individual, I've never, heard of the story of someone being that young and basically being cast aside and having to make it on your own. And the decisions that you had to make in order to just make it day to day mentally as well as physically. No one should have to,
But
ex-
that's the thing too, is like God has always got us, right? And he's always going to give us what we need. And it's so funny because I never really understood when I was younger why a girl who grew up in Orland Park would end up hanging out on the worst streets in the city of Chicago, you know, but they accepted me for who
you
I
said
was.
Overland Park,
Orland Park.
Orland Park. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So they used to call me Orland girl, but but hanging out on the worst streets of Chicago. But the truth is that I needed that. Like I just needed to be accepted. I needed to be loved. I needed to be surrounded by people, and other people's families like took me in and, kind of treated me better than my own did. And that was just a just that little glimpse of me seeing that and feeling that was what I needed to get through that, you
Mm,
know. And I used everybody has their own way of doing it, but I used my pain as fuel to ignite me, and people telling me that I wouldn't as like, watch me show you. Like you're never gonna tell me what I'm gonna do because no one can stop me,
mm.
but so the title is so fitting because, I am the only one who stops me. I'm the one who prevents my growth, stops me from, having the love that I desire, honoring myself, and all of the things, and becoming 100% responsible for all that we call into life, and understanding that, guys, nothing's happening to you, but it's happening for you. You can do the victim mentality, like, oh, this is happening to me. No, it's happening exactly how God designed it to happen because there's something that you need to learn. There's something that we need to break through in order for you to evolve for the next level. And new levels, new devils is no lie, that's for sure.
So you believe in predestination?
I believe that everything happens for a reason. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I Hey, you know what? I agree on an aspect because each and every experience brings you to the person that you are present day.
Hmm.
Whether you're not a nice person, whether you're a great person, I mean, objectively speaking, to yourself and to others. Those are important. I've been there, done that, some things before. I'm 60. I've watched it happen, been a part of it, and recognized the power that it takes to stay the course for yourself when so
Yeah.
many give up. And, which we can travel, you know, American cities coast to coast and see those that haven't had the strength, tools, or resources to fight their way out of the bag, you know what I mean, and navigate the maze. What are some of the benchmarks in your journey that maybe you had phases of waking up and recognizing methodologies that were going to move you forward personally?
So when I was going through a lot of my adolescence, obviously there was no social media, so I didn't know about personal growth and development. I did realize when I started losing everything in 2010, I did realize that I had manifested the life that had been living I
Mm,
manifested it 3 years prior to me having it all. I can remember sitting in a two-bedroom apartment and, just actually knowing that my husband didn't have the same dreams or wants in life that I did. He was very comfortable and I was very not.
mm,
I wanted, big house, vacations, rent, vacation home. Um, rental properties. Like I had a vision and a dream for it. And I was living in a two-bedroom apartment. Within 3 years, I had three rental properties, a $500,000 home, in-ground pool. I thought I was on MTV Cribs. I was like, I've made it.
uh,
So,
uh,
um, a vacation home. I think we took like 4 or 5 vacations that year with the whole family. And I was like, yes, obviously I was doing financially very well. Um, and that was like an I made it moment for me. But when I was losing it all is when I really realized that I had manifested that. And I
mm,
seen that only 3 years prior to me having all of it, I seen it. And I think, and then going through like my divorce and losing everything, um, I used to cry like, why me? Because I really tried to I tried to help everybody that I came across, but I didn't understand why I had to struggle so much. And raising 4-year-old twins, two going into high school, in an industry that my whole industry just collapsed. I'm 100% commission. So I was working 7 days a week, waitressing on the weekend for cash, building back up the mortgage business Monday through Friday. And this was in 2011. And I just didn't understand why I had to go through so much and have so much adversity. And during it too, so many people were coming at me that I had to like cut off majority of my family, all of my friends. Like I had to purge and lose everyone. And I was so alone. And it was, I just decided like, you know what, this is not the end of my story. This is not where this ends. I cannot cry why me anymore. And literally from that day forward, even though I was negative thousands of dollars in the bank, living payday loan to payday loan, no one would have known it because I shifted in my head to say, I just pretended like I was going to be okay. And I seen the life that I desired, not the one that I was in. And I think that's what happens when we're living in survival mode. We actually cannot see outside of, our day to day because we don't know where we're going to sleep,
wow.
So if you could just see it quicker, it will happen so much faster. And I just started to see the life I wanted, and within no time, I started to create it.
It is a reality that a lot of people can't see beyond the tip of their nose, so to speak, because that's what's there in front of them. And I've known people who have their conversation is, I only count what I have in my hand. Or I'm like, but do you not bet on yourself and know that you can, increase that? They just have no, it's like they've given, like you said, have become complacent. Like, I know if I work this 9 to 5, I'm going to have $500 a week. That's, you know, $2,000 a month. I'm going to live within 99% of that income. And as long as I can maintain that, I'm good. Isn't that, to me, that's a defeat, a giving up kind of, situation. And you as a life coach are saying, hey, boom, kind of like throwing an alarm clock in the graveyard to wake the dead, so to speak. Like, hey, you can't just lay there. And this is how you can make it happen. So you're doing credit guidance to rebuild and reestablish people's lives, which crazily enough is foundational now. You've got to have good credit, even
Yeah.
to, get a freaking gas card. It's
Are people
wild.
even using cash anymore? It's it's like not really.
There was a movie with Charlton Heston a long time ago called Soylent Green, and it everyone was on this national credit system.
Mm,
Basically the Bitcoin of this was like in 1970, I think this movie came out, and here we are now, a cashless society
yeah,
where you walk into places and be like, we're only taking card payments now.
right.
Not because you got robbed, it's because there's no cash, or it's easier to use plastic and pay all these fees. Isn't that it's like a sucker's bet, but it's a long term long-term con. Like, I'm going to get you with interest and processing fees. So
Yep.
we're losing. And if you don't have good credit, if you have a business that's starting out, you're usually the PG, the personal guarantor, and you can't get funding for your business. But you're on the mortgage side.
Yep.
And I know I went a little wild. I told you I'm a little wild. It's a conversation rather than an interview. So just buckle up. It's gonna be all right.
I'm good with it.
All right. So talk to me about benchmark moment where you actually saw the physical change from the work that you were putting in on the rebound.
Like the financial side of it.
Let's start there.
Yeah. Um, so it was 2019, I got my own branch. I built my way all the way back up to a top producer, got my own branch. COVID hit shortly after that, and the mortgage industry just was on fire. Like we had the best years ever. My branch did 180 million in production, 65 million with my own personal production.
Oh,
My branch was number one and two in the state for FHA lending, which is low to moderate income area. Because I've had so much hardship throughout my life, it's how I learned to craft solutions for other people who are denied elsewhere. So we are known as the company that can save the deals to help people get in homes. And yeah, it's just really been a beautiful journey and just utilizing. It's funny, it doesn't seem like work because I feel like it's so what I was made to do is to help people. And in the mortgage industry, I'm still able to help everyone fix credit, get their first generation home ownership. It's a beautiful thing.
wow. Look, congratulations. Jennifer was awarded Strategic Partner of the Year by the Women's Council of Realtors in Chicago. She's the top woman originator and, as she said, holds the number one position for FHA lending in Illinois.
That was 2021 though. There is a
Yeah,
new
yeah, yeah. But
holder now. So I got
yeah.
to give her props.
Oh, somebody moved you out your spot.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I had some things going on, so I'm coming back for it.
okay. Okay. That was my latest information to see how people don't update their stuff. It's important.
Yeah,
I, it's
she
just,
earned that spot, so I can't take it from
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah. But that's integrity. I love that. I love that. So talk to me about, while we're there, home loan financing in low to moderate income areas. So now we're talking about zip codes as opposed to credit scores.
No, it's credit scores, but I do a lot of lending in South and West Side of Chicago. A lot of my clientele was that they're a lot are credit challenged, and it's who I'm meant to serve. It's me, right?
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay. For you, what's credit challenge? How low we gotta go?
I mean, how have I been? I've been in the 400s before, that's for sure. I don't think I've been in the 700s. I barely touched it. Single mom, it's just I help people fix their credit, but that's because the only reason I know how to do that is because I've had to rebuild mine 1,500 times. So but yeah. So the beautiful thing is too about I was telling you about the success too. Just to put in perspective, 2017, I was 3 months behind on my mortgage, still negative in the bank, living payday loan to payday loan. And in 2021, I made over seven figures. So and it's because I know that I can and that no one really creates my destiny besides me. And
Mm,
it's like this such the easy things, right? It sounds so simple, like we're in control of it. So you think like, oh, well, of course we can all do it, but it's the most difficult thing for us to stay out of our own way and allow us to walk into our greatness.
mm, yes.
And
What
it's really just super simple. If we just do that, we will all have everything we desire.
okay. When did you like when did it just there's step stages and degrees to
Mhm.
everything, right? And I understand. You know, 400s, been there, done that, right? It's just like there's nowhere to turn. Done
Yeah.
the payday loan after payday loan and ad nauseum. Really,
Yeah.
done that part. What was the mental glue?
The mental glue. I hired a coach in 20.
Okay. Okay.
So that's when I started. I hired a coach. I'm investing in yourself is the greatest investment anyone will ever make. Stop buying stuff. Stop masking your pain, taking vacations, going shopping sprees. Don't buy yourself a Louis if you haven't bought yourself a coach, a life coach, or you know. And the truth is that I didn't have any designer bags like that. And I really only bought them because I feel like people want to see me doing that. I could care less about it, truthfully. Um, but yeah, I invested over 6 figures on coaching for myself before I ever bought a Louis bag. How crazy is that?
No, that's cool. I wish music artists would do some of that. Anyway, of course, I gotta drop that in there.
But yeah, we worked on rewiring the way I thought, removing my limiting decisions, really casting the vision of
eh,
what I can do. Also being careful what I listen to because it does have an effect on us. So
mhm.
let's talk about it. It
it
affects us, guys.
it does, just like, hey,
But that's why I see the music taking a turn a little bit, People really want more uplifting, more motivational. They don't really want like, oh, I'm gonna die today. Yeah, when you cast that vision, that's what it is. One of the rappers that recently passed his literally said in his song he wouldn't make it to 21. I mean, in our tongue is the like what we say is very, 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 very important. It is going to, come to light, and we have to be very careful of that.
you know, I hear people talking, about karmic waves and this, that, and the third, and the divine sound. And I'm going, there really is power in that. And it's programming as well. Let's just not just, the sonics are not the only thing to consider. It really is programming, the noise that's coming from the bean counters down through the artists who deliver the material. And, it's tearing us apart. And we're also in the age of babies raising babies who don't have the critical thinking skills, the analytic skills to say, hey, this is hurting me and this is how it's hurting me. They're
Mhm.
so into the I enjoy it, the hedonistic part, like the bags, you know what I mean? And I love that play y'all didn't catch it, but she did a play. She was like, don't buy yourself a Louis before you buy yourself a coach, life coach. So for women, y'all gonna know that the coach is the starter bag. You know what I mean? Or Dooney and Burke and then coach and then all that, right? Before you get to the Louis. I told you I got 9 sisters, been married 20 years. I have an entire room in this house that's dedicated to shoes and bags.
Right.
So
I
I'm
mean, we love
learning.
them. Like, we love them, but
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
long as you're
Yeah.
investing in
It's fun.
you're your greatest investment.
There it is. I mean, it's just fun. I just like the way that you did the play on words, and then we went into. I was like, okay, she dropped a metaphor in there. That was pretty slick. I knew this was gonna be fun. Um, One of the key things that you like to talk about is healing from trauma. Talk to me about allowing growth. How do we restrict ourselves from growing as you see it?
Well, we restrict ourselves from growing by not putting ourselves in the right environment. Like I said, like listening to uplifting things, being around people who are where you want to be. Why are you taking advice from someone who has never got what you want? Why and I've seen this so much in the industry, in the mortgage industry. I've seen it so many times. A young person is going to buy a house. Mother, brother, uncle, sister, cousin has all got advice. Half of the people in which don't own. Okay, guys, you cannot take advice from someone who doesn't have what you want, who isn't going where you want to go. They don't understand it. Everybody has different wants and desires. So be careful who you're taking advice from. Look to mentors, get yourself in rooms. There's so many different, motivational, inspirational type of events. That's the lowest dollar item, I think, to get in the door. Start there. That's where I started. I got involved with a multi-level marketing company, and they were all so inspirational that it made a huge impact on me, and I had to keep going because I needed to hear what they were saying. It wasn't even about, I never even really did anything good with selling the products. It was just I needed to be in that room, and that was the first thing for me to start moving forward on my journey.
Mm.
And then also, the reason why I put out a book like this is because my mentor, who was the owner of that multi-level marketing company, Ryan Blair, came out with the book, No, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, right? And he was an LA Street gangbanger turned multimillionaire. Well, here's the thing. His story was so similar to mine. I was like, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And, then the 6 figures was paid to Ryan so he could start coaching me. And yeah. And then I was on his documentary being interviewed, and that's how we came up with the name of my book, No One Can Stop Me But Me. And it's full circle. So you really have the power of everything. And there's something that you said that I really wanted to touch on. So young people raising young, babies raising babies, basically. The thing about that is I became a mom at 20, and I will tell you, we know not what we do. We were raised in whatever way we were raised. That is how we don't know if it's not really that great, or our parents had trauma and they were, emotionally or verbally abusive. Like, we don't know all of the things, right, when we're young, and we definitely haven't done our work and we haven't healed. So we roll that over to our kids. So as we get older, it's our responsibility to do our work and then come back and explain to your kids that you're sorry for what you had done wrong because you didn't know any better. It was the way you were raised, and you can see now that it probably wasn't the best. And, help them heal the trauma that they have so we can break the cycles and really start, helping our families.
I feel like following those following in the footsteps um in those who raised us, family, traditions, and maybe even cultural traditions. We've always done it this way, like that corporate inability to adapt. Oh, we've always done it this way, but it doesn't really work. The traditions are not as fluid, and the reasons for some of these traditions that we had that were passed down were survival skills, but they're not as necessary today. And you have to be a little light on your feet because there's someone always out there looking at an angle for themselves.
Right.
And should you have something that interests them, or maybe even a skill or resource, they're trying to get that from you. So to earlier what you said about getting people who inspire you, um, I've always lived, you know, I want to be the brokest and most ignorant person in the room. And I'm going to go in there, keep my mouth shut and both of my ears open. I'm going to learn how to make that bread and I'm going to learn some new skills, and I'm going to be seen as a student and not a threat.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm put work clothes on my dreams and get it in, but at the
And
same
then
time,
and then when we become the most successful one in the room, then we need to upgrade the room. So
yeah, you feel me?
we'll
Yeah.
have
And always be grateful and always be grateful. What was the most satisfying part for you about the process of writing this book?
Well, writing at the time that I started writing the book, I was losing everything. I was super depressed. So it actually pulled me out of that depression and made me realize that losing all of my material possessions was definitely not the end of my story. It was just the beginning. And truly, it was just the beginning of my story, because that's when my healing started.
Mm,
And, you know,
okay.
they say heal the mother, heal the father, heal the family. And that
Mm.
is 100% for sure.
Well, we're talking about healing. When, as a life coach yourself now, you know, when people are overwhelmed with, 20, 30 things hitting them all at the same time, you know, and, maybe 15 or 20 of those are bill collectors. Do you recommend them to just take small chunks, maybe take 2 or 3 things to focus on, something that they can really manage, or do you guide them towards attacking everything at the same time?
Everybody's situation is so different when it comes to like, credit and different things like that. Um, but unfortunately we have to maintain all the bills. So
Right, right, right.
all of them. But yeah, and I don't think like, all the time you don't really have to sometimes it becomes very overwhelming, so we don't have to know the end result. You just have to see that you want a better credit score, or you want to be able to change your life, and it can start to happen that simply. um and just try, because it can kill you. I mean, the stress from the debt and the financial burden, it can kill you.
Yeah,
Stress is deadly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know
Yeah, that's what I would think. I think more than the financials, I was just thinking as an overall life coach. And I know that, your core is finance, but I was just like, sometimes it's not all financial. I just threw that uh bill collector thing in there because it was funny to me. Shit. Uh sorry. Um, I was thinking as a life coach on an overall scale, like you said, you had 2 twins. You're raising 2 twins, two in high school, single mother. So you've got a bunch of personalities coming at you, and then the twins are double personalities each because they've not only got their own but their twins' personality. The droplets from the glass emptied. You know what I mean? Like they're still there, and then then the finance, then trying to give yourself affirmations
yeah.
and remind yourself of your successes at each success. I think that's what I was talking about. Like, do you pick, like, okay, I'm going to focus on this and this and this. This is what I have the bandwidth for,
Yeah.
so that
So
I can still employ my skill set to make it better.
yeah, so what I personally did was like annually, or even, mid-year, like checking in on my goals for the year. So I'll have like this year's goals, like within the next 5 years goals, and the big, big, big picture. So we don't have to know how it's all going to come together. We just have to see it is that first thing. So I make the yearly ones, and that's what I want for the year, and then I'll check in with myself and see like how many of those goals I've actually accomplished thus far, and did something change, because life is life, right? And we're growing and doing our thing. So sometimes things pivot and something else happens or comes up, and then we need to evolve with it. But and then the 5 year goals are there, and if they come sooner, great. But I know what they are, and then there's the big ones, for where I end up. And so, and it's funny, like one day I just wrote on a vision board. Like I just wrote on a whiteboard, like I want to be a part of creating an alternative to the streets, because there's so many reasons why we plug there. And it's needed. Like a lot of us need it. What the streets provides, we need, but there's no ecosystem out here in the United States that has everything that the streets has. So that's why we don't plug anywhere else, because there isn't that thing. So I really want to be able to, pull together the different nonprofits. And I had no idea how I would ever create something like this, but one by one, just right after I put it on the whiteboard, nonprofits started reaching out to me. Um, Juvenile detention officers would be calling me. They have no idea how they got referred to me. I'm like, I see you, like you, all of a sudden, like all of these things were coming together, and I started teaching entrepreneurship, working on the board of a job co-op, college readiness, working with the Teen Homeless Center. And I'm like, and they're all down the street from each other and not even working together. You see, that's my point. Like and I haven't done it yet. And I know that, in the end, it will be there. I need the financial gains in order to really have be able to give back as much as I can. So for me, that's the end results.
Jennifer Hernandez, nobody can stop me but me, with the forward by the iconic life coach Ryan Blair. Hey, I'm gonna just say this again. It's distributed by Simon and Schuster. Very, very serious distributor. They don't take on just any kind of messaging or project. It's published by Forefront Books. It hit January 16th. It's out in all the bookstores. So it's available in retail, online, Audible. It's in all the platforms?
In all the platforms. So no one can stop me but me. It is there. It is ready for you. And please, if you get the book, definitely drop your reviews. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Jen Hernandez. It's Jenn Hernandez. And yeah, I'm so excited. I hope that me sharing my story is able to impact you or your loved ones in some way. And I can't wait to read your reviews on it. So
Look, amazing messaging, powerful woman, powerful human being, mother, you know. And you look at it, you go like, but you know what? The power of a mom across any culture is the most amazing thing. Their intestinal fortitude and their ability to put up with our shenanigans as children when they're really dealing with some serious stuff that as kids, it's not our place to know. Bruh, respect to you. That's all I can say. Thank you for all that you do. Now, I got to ask you just, it might be a couple more questions, but this one for sure. So,
I'm ready.
hey, like, it takes a while to become an item in your own backyard. So shout out on your Spotlight Chicago piece. You know what I mean, getting recognized. But it's spread LA Style magazine, the Chicago Agent magazine, which is kind of cheating because it's like an industry magazine. You know what I mean? All right. Uh the Blacklist podcast, From Homeless to Running an Empire. Now that is a title that made me click. And I go, all right, all right. Not bad, not bad. And then, of course, as a life coach, you're going to talk about self-love and how you survived to be able to give back to one another. But now that you've been covered by everybody, they cat, uncle, and dog, is there a question that we in the media have failed to ask you that perhaps you've wanted to address and we just haven't caught on?
Hmm. Is there I could ask so many different questions, but I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, we're always covering the surface stuff, the book and, this and that. But, as a person, maybe we've missed a question that connects with
I don't feel
Jennifer.
like a lot of people ask about the drugs because I mean, I'm sure they don't, well, they don't know, like how hard I was going on drugs. I don't get asked about the drugs a lot. Um, Not that I want to be, but it's a thing that a lot of people deal with, so it should be talked about, you know. And I was addicted to a lot of different things at a lot of different times, and it was all my way of self-sabotaging. And the good thing is that as much as like I might have been addicted to it or wanted it for a little bit, there was something in me that let it go just as quick. So I was super blessed
Mm.
by that. Unfortunately, there are so many people who struggle with being able to let it go. And it's just, I know that you can because my ex-husband also was an alcoholic and he's been sober for 2 years now. And so and it was his dad was also an alcoholic.
Mm.
So it's in the bloodline. And some of us, don't realize how deep that hold is. But you have the power of waking up tomorrow and deciding that that isn't it. And there's tons of resources out there for you. So I always like to touch on that. And I think there's so many different questions, or maybe like too, like how I didn't, if I ever tried to commit suicide. I've never really been asked that, although I have not. So I think without my kids, that might have been a thing, but because
Uh,
I had them and they were my reason, I could never let them have to do it without me. So
yeah, I was going to, before we got out of here, ask about, how you prevented yourself from becoming a statistic,
Yeah.
a final statistic. You know what I mean? Similar, because what you went through is similar to, you know, a warrior coming back, or going through repeated deployment after deployment after deployment with an entire world trying to snuff you out. You know what I mean? But you make it, and you have those survival techniques. Single mothers are equivalent to be the special forces troops, Jack, because
They are
the
like 100%.
like that's that real. They're like, ooh,
You
we.
know, another thing that came up for me, it's funny, nobody's ever asked me that question, but another thing that comes up for me is like, how are my kids? And did they end up going through some of the things that I went through? Because I see a lot of like single moms, right? Um, their kids end up like on drugs and jail, different things. And so, um, yeah, not a lot of people ask me that question, but I will report my kids are all good. They went through their different phases where I had to pull them back because they definitely tried to veer. And my one thing that I will say on that is because of who I was and the child that I was, I knew if I let them slip one time, I wouldn't be able to get them back
Mm,
because that's the truth. My parents tried to save me from myself, but it was way too late. So I know that like when you let that go and they slide, if you let them slide for too long, there is no pulling them back. They have to save themselves. So um my daughter is an actress. My son was running my company and my most valuable employee. My twins are about to graduate high school and they haven't gotten in any trouble and they're really good kids. So I was, yeah, I made it through all of it and I'm super blessed and I just stayed on them. So, you know,
much needed story. A lot of us won't ask about the kids. It's kind of taboo from the media side, unless you're a clickbait
oh, okay.
kind of thing. That's more of a respect thing. The drugs I would have asked about, because I was going to ask you, because it was mentioned, the alcoholism and the drugs and things. I'm like, well, did you go intravenous? Were you just pills? You know,
Pills weren't out back in my day. It was marijuana, cocaine, acid, wiki water. Oh,
now that's a new one for me. Wiki water?
streets of Chicago. That ain't new over here. It's called a Dunk Square. Not too many people know about it.
Yeah. No. Well,
It's
oh,
PCP and
wait.
embalming fluid. Yeah.
Yeah, but y'all, we call it wet in LA.
Oh, okay. We
Water. We call it water. Y'all call it donkey. Okay, we just call
call
it
it water.
we
No,
just
we
call it
call it
water.
water, but
PCP basically, y'all.
wiki water. Yeah.
Wiki water. Now, that was a new one. That's that Chicago. I did a piece on colloquialisms that are just based on different areas. So that was just fun to learn. Chicago, Wiki
Yeah,
water.
that was I don't even that drug is something different.
Yeah, that. Hey,
Uh-uh.
it's also known in LA as that butt naked, because you see them running down the street, stitch starts naked off that
Never
water.
had that one.
They they dipping them cools and running down. You be like, oh he looped.
Oh,
Straight looped. So it
God.
gets it gets wild. You see some look, you already see some crazy stuff in LA, but like it's warm and they get hot.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you be like, oh, they call it a streak. There was a song, I don't know, history. There was this in the 70s, people used to just run naked down the street, but everybody wasn't on PCP. They wasn't on water. Uh, but water will make you do that. Direct traffic in the middle of the street, in the busy freeway or some nonsense. It gets wild. So you've been blessed. Thank you, God, for saving this woman to bring us, really important and valuable information on life. Look, I will read the full book. No one can stop me but me. It's out on Forefront Books. It is in all the stores. Her name is Jennifer Hernandez. Find her on socials at Jen Hernandez. Go get that and touch bases. And if you're in Illinois, she appears to me to be the one to go to. If you got questions, try to get that first house to help you guide through. And, if you're credit challenged, she has the ability to help you get fundable for a home.
Yeah, and actually I can be anywhere across the country. So it doesn't just have to be Illinois.
Okay.
So realtors, homeowners who are denied, I don't care what your credit looks like. It doesn't matter. Once I run you, I can do a workup for you on what needs to be done. We also have 5% down payment assistance across the country. And my website is approvedbyjen.com. So all you have to do is go there and apply. Shoot me a message and my team will reach out to you.
I'm a veteran, so I got to ask you, any special rules now coming up for vets? Because I see all these bait posts about, oh, no credit score needed, veterans. It used to be 520 for your VA loan or whatever if you were service connected, but now I just have to ask that before we get out of here.
Yeah, so we go pretty low we do go down to 520, but it just depends if it approves through the system or not and what the overall credit looks like. But the really good product that we have for you guys is the renovation loan. And you can buy a 4-unit building, gut the whole thing, do a renovation, tear it down to the foundation and rebuild it, and no money down, VA loan. So no PMI is the best loan out there.
I'm gonna be calling. I'm gonna be calling. Hold up, player. It's crazy. I just bought like 3 city lots, and I'm like, but they're butt naked, but they're semi-improved. They got the electricity, water, and gas already run there. I'm like, I'm gonna do something, and here I get to talk to Jennifer Hernandez. She's
Yeah, so
nationwide. She on your side. Stop it. Stop.
they
So
need to pay you
veterans,
for that blip.
I'm just I just love having fun. You've been, this has been a very valuable conversation for me, and certainly we have a large veteran audience as well. And to know that, there's someone that can really tell the real deal, has been through it, like laid actual foundational bricks to build a house, you know what I mean? Metaphorically speaking,
Right.
then, framed out the walls, hit the electrical, the plumbing, the drywall, taped it, mudded it, and painted it and ready to go, right? Serve you up. That's a powerful resource. And she comes from us. It's not color, it's class, caste, formerly an untouchable, just like a lot of us, but said, you know what? You don't have to touch me. I'm do it myself. Y'all nasty. Stop it. She made it happen when everybody, the world might have seemed against her. She went through a really bad breakup, and here we go. Now she's in a position to help us out. I appreciate you. Thank you. Veterans, pay attention. She's available nationwide. The rest of y'all can handle yourself, but my comrades in arms, veterans, especially service-connected veterans, she just dropped a gem. All right? Until next time, the Hype Magazine live sessions, Jennifer Hernandez, go get the book. No one can stop me but me on Forefront Books, and help yourself out. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is Ice-T representing for Hype Magazine. Stop playing.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Because I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Because I'm black.
It's really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out to Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.